Big show yesterday, obviously, on the MSG 150 at home. The first public comments from Knicks president Leon Rose in an exclusive interview with Mike Breen. And what was interesting to me is when Mike asked him about how his experience as an agent has prepared him for his current role. And I thought it was really interesting when he said that he has a unique insight into the motivation and the mindset of a player. And I think, Wally, that could really help him in his construction of a roster because he knows what these guys are like so well from all his years as an agent.
Yeah, he's been one of the most well-respected agents in the business, and that goes a long way, as far as players trusting who's running the Knicks organization. And I think that's the big thing that Leon Rose brings. He brings credibility, he brings honesty, and he brings a track record that has just been nothing but success. And a lot of the top players believe in him and they trust in him. Trust is a big word too that we used to always use in our locker rooms. We used it in Cleveland with Mike Brown. He said, you got to trust each other. You got to trust us coaches. You got to trust the organization. And that's how you win basketball games. That's how you win championships. So you bring a guy like Leon Rose, who just has a track record of just bringing out great things in players and having great relationships with players. And what really hit home to me is, the players that he signed and represented, they also represented him as an agent. So he wanted players that were going to represent him at a high level too. And that was going to help his kind of reputation as a person in basketball throughout the whole landscape of basketball. And I thought that was very important. So he's going to bring in players to the Knicks that he believes in, that he knows are going to also represent the Knicks in the right way and the franchise of the New York Knickerbockers in the right way.
Yeah, you know what, guys, too, and Wally, you mentioned that trust factor and why players trust him. It's mainly because he lets the player sort of get the shine, take the lead. Like Leon doing this interview, you understand this is not something typical of him. In the 2 decades I've covered the NBA, he hardly talks. Like, he's not a guy you'll ever see quoted on the record. He's not a typical agent. A lot of agents, are out there and they like putting stuff out. They like talking. That's just the way it is. He's never been like that, and he's always represented some of the biggest names in the game. So you'd think maybe he'd have this gigantic ego and want to have his name out there too. He's never like that. He kind of operates in the background. And that's sort of how it looks like he wants to operate this franchise as well. So he wants to, of course, communicate with fans and say all the things that fans want to hear about. What's your plan? What are you thinking? But I would think, Wally, as a player, you would appreciate leadership of a team that sort of takes that step back. Let the players be the one that do all the action. I'm just going to take care of the work and put them in the best position to succeed, and I'll stay in the background doing that.
That's what it's all about. As we're seeing now, the NBA is turning into a players league, and the spotlight is on the players, and Leon Rose recognizes that, and that's what has made the Golden State Warriors so great. Because, it's all about the players. It's all about the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green and company, and that's why they win championships.
And Wally, of note, former agent Bob Myers is the GM of the Warriors.
Yeah, and and Rob Pelinka, same thing with the LA Lakers. So that's the blueprint of success. It's all about the players, and Leon Rose is a perfect hire in order to get things right in the New York Knicks franchise.
Yeah, 100%, Wally. And we talk about Bob Myers, the example of what he's doing out in Golden State, Rob Pelinka with the Lakers. They understand that this league, as you mentioned before, Wally, it's a player-driven league. And we heard Leon Rose say on the interview with Mike Breen last night that he wants this to be a player-friendly environment and treat these guys first class because he knows what that relationship is like when it comes to a player and the franchise because he's been on the other side as an agent. And we know agents and players have a great relationship and they talk about different things. And one of the first things they talk about is how the environment is with that franchise. Are your suggestions being listened to? Do you have a great relationship with the coach in the front office? So all of those experiences Leon is going to take from his agent days are going to transfer over to him as team president of the Knicks. But you have to feel optimistic about that interview and what Leon was saying. Now, of course, he's going to, put out the words of, we're going to try and do things the right way. But I loved how he finished the interview by saying that they're going to be prudent and creative with how they build this thing. They're going to make sure that they're doing everything that they can, dotting all their I's, crossing their T's to build this franchise into a perennial winner. And I think that Knicks fans should be excited about what Rose is going to bring along with his team.
He expects to have a coaching decision made by the end of July. He sees a lot of equality in the upcoming draft. And also, Worldwide Wes has been hired. He's known Worldwide Wes for over 40 years. They met as teenagers in southern New Jersey. They worked together at CAA, and Worldwide Wes is going to have a role now, Alan, in the front office.
Yeah, and just to jump off what Cam said there, the way Leon described how they're going to build the team, he said, we're going to be all in on all facets of building a team, which is draft, trades, and free agency. That sounds like somebody that's not going to sit back. That sounds like somebody that's going to be very active in what's going to be a very short off season. And somebody that's going to help them is William Wesley, Worldwide Wes. He's somebody that he's always been by his side, has helped him when it comes to handling his clients. And Wes is someone, when you talk about that trust factor, he is somebody that players, whether they're Hall of Famers, whether they're all-stars, or whether they're in their first year in the league, everybody knows him and they do trust him. He's somebody that you'll see courtside at high school showcases. He's not just a guy that follows stars around. He knows basketball players. He knows them, and he's that type of guy that, what do you need? How can I help you? Help advise and guide them along their way. That's what his career has been over the last couple of years. And, oh, by the way, another guy just like Leon Rose, never wants to be quoted, doesn't really want to be in pictures, don't put me on camera. Like, he doesn't look for the shine. He's just here to support and help build something. And now the two of them together are going to try to do it at a very tough, very high level at the NBA level, running a team. So that's going to be real interesting. Can they attract players? Can they also talk to players who might be on teams not too happy where they are? Well, I trust those two guys. Maybe I want to go play for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this offseason is handled.
Yeah, it's a situation for both of those guys. Obviously, Alan, you talk about their long-time relationship. They've known each other for over 40 years and worked together at CAA for a little over 13 years. So these are two guys that, again, with their relationships that they've built respectively on their own platforms, but also together, are going to make sure that players that, as you mentioned, aren't too happy in their certain situations, that if they make that phone call or they get that text or whatever it is, however that phone communication goes down.
Trade for me.
that they're going to get that. And you know that the persuasion level of Wes and Leon are going to have those guys in New York City really, really thinking about coming to the Knicks and even signing with this team. And these are all elements of the foundation that they're building. And again, it has to be optimistic for a lot of Knicks fans because these are guys that don't, as you mentioned, don't want to be in the spotlight, don't want to give all these interviews. They're more concerned about the work behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And that's how you build great dynasties.
Obviously, the coach is important. And I trust in Leon Rhodes with his connections to bring the right guy in here to lead this franchise because getting the right coach is very impactful and it's very important. And another big positive with the Knicks and the franchise right now, although it's been a lot of tough years, is their salary cap is in great standing. Very, very good. They had one of the lowest payrolls in the league last year. We know that they were rebuilding a little bit and going through the draft, and they have some young pieces in Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett and company. But the fact that their balance sheet, as far as a salary cap, is pretty much clean as a whistle, and now you bring in a guy like Leon Rose and Worldwide Wes, who have the connections to bring big-time players to a franchise, that is a huge positive for this team, and that is one of the reasons why there's a lot of optimism for Knicks fans that this can get turned around really, really quick. We saw the Lakers. They were a dumpster fire 2 years ago, and then last year they were the best team in the league. So there is a way to turn things around really quick when you get the right people in place that can bring the players in.